let's see. Let's get a third option. The third option would be well, big boom, payoff. Option 3, it's got to be more of a surgical kind of attack, and for that I would personally, I'd elect drones for that. Obama used drones. Trump used drones. Heck, even Bush used drones, I think. Drones are cool. It eliminates the risk on our side of losing anyone. Just as easy as I'm gaming this game right now, I could be a drone pilot and you would have no idea. And, use your imagination. You could have a gamer like myself fly a drone somewhere else in the world, deliver a payload, and you would never be able to know. But that's not what I do. Otherwise, it would be like the stupidest way to blow my cover ever. I'm not affiliated with the government or anything like that, but it's just simply what I'm saying is possible with today's technology. They've got, somebody's driving around this rover on Mars, right? And somebody is. So, somebody's in control of this, and how would you be able to defuse the situation with the drone you're relying on? On the ground intelligence, which isn't always reliable, and then you rely on digital evidence or surveillance of the devices of the people in that area. But that's not always easy to survey all of these things. It's hard to even get into devices, especially on a large scale. And then how do you monitor who? And that's just a really large undertaking. I'm sure that there are countries that, like the NSA for the United States, where somebody's basically just listening to something all the time, whatever it is that they're looking for. But I'm seeing a couple different futures here. Obviously, we're engaged in a digital war. That's been apparent. Cybersecurity is a real issue. I guess they say the terrorists aren't a big issue, but today it had more U.S. casualties than any other day in the last 10 years. And I think that that's too many. And it's really unfortunate, like we mentioned before. And that's why I wouldn't really elect option 4, but it still exists, and that would be to increase the military presence. But you would get a lot more casualties, especially on our side, versus just not having as many people there. So I hope that the military stays as long as they can and gets as many people out as they can. And now that there's no center, the airport there kind of became like an epicenter. Now that there's no epicenter to go get rescued, they're going to have to start making these little cells, like I was talking about earlier, airlifting them out of these cells. And these helicopters, they're going to need flares and anti-aircraft and all the safety stuff. And then moving forward beyond the 31st, it seems like he's not trying to show off our military strength at all. And it makes me wonder if he's positioned in other areas.
We're hearing reports tonight of more drones actually coming in over Kyiv. And you mentioned there that these drones are supplied by Iran to Russia. That is important. And it's important on lots of different levels. So Russia basically is running out of cruise missiles. It can't get its hands on component parts because of sanctions. So it's turning to another member of the world's outcast club, Iran. And the reason it's doing that, as I say, is because it's struggling to get its hands on these component parts. And basically, this military alliance that we're seeing between Iran and Russia, the big question is how will that evolve now when it comes to the war in Ukraine? And crucially, how will the world, including Israel, respond to that? There's some of the big questions for the future. This is some of the detail of what happened here in Ukraine today. The Call of Duty perspective on the drone attacks in Ukraine today. A policeman's body camera in Kyiv picks up the buzzing sound of a so-called kamikaze drone. In Ukraine, though, they've nicknamed them mopeds. Most, like this one, were shot down. According to the Ukrainian Air Force, today's attack by Russia involved 43 military drones. 37 were destroyed. These drones are Shahed 136s supplied to Russia by Iran, although Tehran denies this. The ones that hit Kyiv, for example, will have been launched from the back of flatbed trucks positioned in Belarus about 100 miles to the north. But Ukrainians believe Iranian instructors have been brought into occupied areas in the south and east to help set up the systems as well. In Kyiv, the drone attack was designed to disrupt energy supply. Power infrastructure across the country was hit. Explosions were heard in 7 different regions of Ukraine. But further south, more strikes in the port city of Mykolaiv and sunflower oil on fire. According to officials, 17% of the global sunflower oil trade was handled from this terminal. In other words, today's strikes designed to make people cold and to make people hungry. It's also about making people feel afraid. One of the drones that got through hit this apartment building in Kyiv. 4 people died, including a young couple who were expecting a baby.